It is Thursday, January 10. Here's what's making today's news. The government and the opposition said today in a joint statement that they are committed to working towards the expeditious conclusion of the matters of the December 21, 2018 vote that is currently engaging the attention of the court. Alexis Rodney has our first report.
The government and opposition met at the Ministry of the Presidency on Wednesday, January 9 and engaged in a high-level meeting. During the meeting, President David Granger emphasized that the government is legal and that it must govern without any limitations on its authority. The president said the government and the opposition, by agreement in the National Assembly, can enlarge the time beyond the 90 days contemplated by Article 106(7) of the Constitution. The opposition leader called for the National Assembly to only meet to deal with issues connected with the provision of essential services by the state and all matters related to the preparation of general and regional elections. The president stated that it is lawful for the government to engage the court to bring clarity to the provisions of Article 106(6) and 106(7) of the Constitution. Pending the conclusion of the legal proceedings, Parliament remains functional. The statement said both parties expressed their willingness to meet to ensure the management of the various issues facing the nation. The parties identified Minister Amna Ali from the government side and Gail Teixeira from the opposition to inquire into the readiness of the Guyana Elections Commission. According to the statement, the two sides met in an atmosphere of cordiality and committed to work together on all matters relating to the protection of Guyana's sovereignty, regardless of their internal political issues. For InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
President David Granger said his administration is seeking to ensure Guyana remains a safe, secured, and stable place for all citizens. Here again is Alexis.
The head of state was addressing senior members of the Guyana Police Force at its annual Police Officers Conference at State House on Thursday morning. According to President Granger, Guyana looks to the police force for security. The police, he said, must therefore enlist the trust and confidence of citizens.
Guyana cannot fulfill its potential as a peaceful and prosperous nation unless it's secure and stable. Security and stability can be guaranteed best by a strong police force.
Because of the responsibility of the police force, officers must also rid themselves of corruption, the head of state stressed. To this end, he said that bribery, a notorious crime that contributes to corruption, should be sheared from the force.
A force which is contaminated by corruption cannot safeguard the security of our citizens. Service in the force must be based on the values of commitment, competence, and incorruptibility.
The Guyana Police Force is also celebrating its 180th anniversary. President Granger told officers that the force can carry out its mandate only if it is commanded by a corps of officers who are competent, committed, and uncorrupted. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
In the same vein, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu has described Wednesday's meeting as a marvelous display of maturity. More from Anira Khan.
The display of marvelous maturity and calm equanimity by the leaders dealing with a situation that holds so grave implications for Guyana. And I believe that what has come out today is an affirmation by the national leaders that irrespective of what happens in this country, politically, they are both committed with their parties to the protection of the sovereignty of our country.
The Prime Minister was at the time appearing alongside Minister of State Joseph Harmon on the National Communications Network program Context. Minister Harmon expressed similar sentiments.
Guyana has a maturing democracy that today represent a certain level of maturity in our political system that is something that we should cherish and we should try to develop. We should let it grow.
Minister Harman noted that regardless of what is taking place politically, public services are still available to citizens. The bilateral meeting saw both sides affirming their commitment to the Constitution and the government assuring that public interest is paramount. For InfoHub, Anarakan.
Also following the meeting with the president, leader of the opposition Bharat Jagdeo has changed his rhetoric of the coalition government's need to resign.
During a press conference held after the meeting, leader of the opposition Bharat Jagdeo conceded that the APNU-AFC government is legitimate and will remain in office until such time as a ruling is made by the court or elections are held.
The president made it clear that you cannot have a country without a government, and we agree with this 100%. And I made it clear that our job is not to stymie the functioning of the government. And so where public order is concerned and public services, etc., those have to continue.
It is not the view of the opposition to have a country without a government.
We do not want to have a country without a government, and that is not contemplated for by our Constitution.
The bilateral meeting between the national leaders was dubbed a landmark development where both sides agreed to cooperate in the national interest. For InfoHub, Anarakan.
Still to come, Department of Culture promises to spice things up for Mashramani this year with 100 million allocated for the event. Stay with us.
Staying on treatment for HIV can lead to a normal, healthy life. Remain on treatment once you've started. Don't share or use someone else's pills. Staying on your medication not only helps to improve your quality of life, but decreases the risk of HIV transmission to others. A message from USAID, PEPFAR, Advancing Partners and Communities Guyana, NAPS, and the Ministry of Public Health.
$35.6 billion has been allocated in the 2019 national budget to consolidate and expand the security sector. Of that amount, $4 billion will be used to maintain and improve the prison service and infrastructure to ease overcrowding. There is also a plan to construct the new Georgetown prison. While construction of the new Amsterdam prison is slated to begin, the expansion of the Mazaruni prison is also set to continue this year. Also, from the 2019 budget, the University of Guyana is set to receive $3.1 billion in subvention as Guyana continues to educate its nation. And with focus on youths, government has allocated $1.7 billion for youth initiatives. In this regard, the Youth Innovation Project of Guyana has received 271 proposals for project implementation. Of that amount, 30 have qualified to receive funding totaling $45 million. Get an electronic copy. It is simplified and social media friendly. Download your copy to see what the government has planned for you. Minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources, Simona Brooms, and a team from the Ghana Geology and Mines Commission and other agencies on Wednesday visited Region 7 as part of government's ongoing efforts to clamp down on illegal mining. More in this report.
GGMC Acting Manager of Mines, Krishna Ramdas, said a complaint was received on January 7, 2019, which alleged that mining operations were being conducted within the boundaries of Bartacus Township.
We had this matter investigated promptly upon receipt of that complaint, and it was determined that the dredge operated by Mr. Rasool, Mohammed and Bobby Rasool, and that dredge was operating on a prospecting permit, and the owner of that permit was recorded as Samantha Charles.
It was noted that charges will be laid for breach of the Mining Act.
There was a breach of the Mining Act because you cannot have mining being undertaken on a prospecting permit.
Minister within the Ministry of Natural Resources, Simona Brooms, assured that measures would be put in place to avoid future issues.
On a policy level, at my level, I'm going to ensure that I communicate with Minister Trotman, and it is something we look at all the new things. And I will recommend, and I'm saying this boldly, I will recommend that where we have prospecting license fall within boundaries of these new things, that we seek not to move them into conversion of mining, because you will get some problems.
Minister Brooms affirmed that illegal mining activities of any kind will not be condoned. For InfoHub, Anarakan.
Police Commissioner Leslie James has given his assurance that public security will be maintained. He was speaking at the opening of the annual police conference. Isaiah Braffett has the details.
With serious crime on the reduction, Commissioner James said the maintenance of law and order is paramount to the Guyana Police Force.
The Guyana Police Force achieved 11% of reduction in serious crimes. Robbery under arms were reduced by 13.2%, and road fatalities also saw a reduction by 6%. I must state that we will remain resolute and focused in our ideals, as our mandate is very clear. Public security will be maintained.
He highlighted that constant training will be provided to officers as the force continues to build public trust. Police prosecutions, the Commissioner said, has been bolstered through collaboration with the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Justice Education System. Added to that, there were several model-type police stations commissioned across the country through collaboration with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, to improve service delivery.
We've seen the commission of the station at Mackenzie Linden, and shortly we'll have the station at Aurora on the Essequibo coast to be commissioned.
So Top Cop said over the 3 days of the conference, the officers will be formulating systems for commanders and heads of departments to ensure that public security is maintained. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Mashramani, one of Guyana's most anticipated celebrations, is on the cards for next month. To usher in a bigger and better celebration, the Department of Culture is already taking steps to make the 49th Republic anniversary one to remember, with some $100 million allocated for the event.
Director of Culture Tamika Boswin explains this will facilitate the department's aim of hosting a wide range of activities countrywide. Thus far, preparations for this colorful event is 80% complete with a few additions.
We have a folk evening, which will be held at the Cultural Center Tarmac, and that's intended to have storytelling, folk dance, singing, all folk and folk related to the different ethnicities. So we expect to have East Indian folk culture as well as Amerindian folk culture on display, along with Afro-Guyanese folk culture.
According to Boswin, there are a number of pop-up activities geared at creating a Mashramani environment, which is expected to intensify as time draws near to the big day. She also encourages all to support the upcoming events and to keep abreast with dates and times for the events, which can be found on the Guyana Mashramani Facebook page. Kicking off the ministry's official activities will be an All-Stars concert set to be held in Region 1 on January 12th, followed by a steel pan concert the following day in Region 5. The theme for this year's celebration is Celebrate MASH 2019 with victory in mind, rediscovering El Dorado. Neola Dimon, InfoHub.
That's all for this evening. Connect with us on WhatsApp. Like and subscribe to our Facebook page for notifications. You can also follow us on Instagram for updates and visit our website at dpi.gov.gy. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Goodbye.